Hello, today we are dancing with Hanna Gillgren, and we met in January.
Yes.
At the Choreographic Devices number 4 at the ICA, the Institute of Contemporary Arts, where you were there as a part of the Rose Choreographic School. Super exciting. But we didn't really connect there. We connected more when I invited you to participate in this podcast. And it's been really exciting, actually, dialoguing and learning a little bit about you already. We have this connection where I come from the UK, and I've had my career in Sweden, and you've come from Sweden, and you've had your career more or less here in the UK. And also we have a lot of affinity maybe around working at universities as well. You're here at Roehampton, and I've been at Eskel in Stockholm. So a lot to get me interested and intrigued to know what you're working with. And from what I've already heard, it's super exciting. But if people don't know you, how do you introduce yourself? I've missed out H2 Dance, of course, your
the company, yes.
Your big contribution.
Yes. Yeah, how do I introduce myself? Probably as a choreographer, performer, which is how I started, which I'm doing less now and perhaps a little bit less interested in, but still very much part of my practice and practicing and making, lecturer.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy this idea of how education, pedagogy can feed into choreographic process and the kind of collaborative learning that is for everyone.
Yeah.
I love that. And yeah, that maybe would be. And who am I? People, like my son would now say that I'm English, more English than Swedish, but I'm not sure. I sort of try and claim my Swedishness, even though I left when I was 18, and I've been here for like more than 30 years, but it's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's a good summary, and people will find out more about you in the podcast and online and stuff.
I mean, the company, perhaps I should mention H2 Dance, Heidi Rusgaard, a choreographer, a friend of mine from Norway. We set that up in 2000. So we worked sort of collaboratively for 20 years on touring productions, community work, teaching, kind of duet work between us. And that's really fed my practice and what I was doing. And then we've just now doing our sort of own practices separately at Rose Choreographic School, which is also something really interesting to work together, but not making together, like actually sitting
in the same
aligned
studio,
in the same studio, but working on different practices, but still sort of similar, but and then kind of supporting each other's work in a different way, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, because I saw that you were both in the Rose Choreographic School, I assumed actually that you'd perhaps still be.
Yes. And there was a choice actually. Martin said you can both. You can do it if you want to do it together. You also can. But I think we were at that stage where we were both interested in going off solo for a bit and see what that is.
Yeah.
because I think we sort of our interest a little bit was dividing anyway, and then obviously there's a different process, the whole relationship behind working together and apart. And taking decisions or just how you want to be in a process. So that was it was great, and it's great because I still feel we're working together, but not intermatched. We don't have to agree.
Yes.
We don't have to come to a kind of compromise. We can just like, okay, you do that, I'll do this, and it's okay. We can still kind of feed in and
and
help.
I mean, and like you say, how you describe your practice, like dance as a pedagogical and performative and practice, it's so collaborative anyway. So it's always funny. I tend to work alone, like as a solo author and stuff, and yet all my pieces feel collaborative. And I think there's an irony, actually, that's why I tend to call myself Peter, and I call all my pieces Peter, because I think it's sort of absurd to imagine that I made this alone.
Exactly.
And that it actually is performed alone as well. Like the audience are even so much a part of it. Anyway, what are we going to do today?
So today we're going to do a practice which I call the voice circle. It's a kind of voice and movement practice where either the movement kind of instigates the voice, or other way around, voice goes with the movement or instigates the movement. And it's come from some work I did many years ago with Guy Dartnell. He's a theatre maker in the UK, now lives in Spain, I believe. And basically it's usually done with several people, but it's just the two of us today, which is also great. And one person will start generating any movement really that comes with the vocal sound. Then when that person feels ready to transmit, it does, and we kind of jam together for a little while, kind of find it as a duo. And when then the person that initiated sort of moves away. And today we're also going to play with recording. So I will then, if I start, I will record the vocal sound as in a loop machine. So I'm sort of interested at the moment in looping, repetition, insisting, staying with something, and see what that does. And then you would then carry on transforming the sound and the movement, and when you feel ready to give back to me, you give it back to me, we jam together, you record the sound. So we're layering vocal sounds in the loop machine, creating a sort of sound score, I guess, or some sort of sound for us. Us to then, maybe when we're done kind of a few each, maybe 5 each, we will go off and sort of jam, really, and transform and stay with whatever the last thing was, and then kind of work on staying with and see when transformation happened, but also what happens between the two of us in that kind of negotiation, moving together, and the sound. So
it's really nice. I'm so sound has become really important to me at the moment, so I'm so excited to do it. But I think that's relatively clear. Like, so you'll start, or someone starts, and they start to feel movement and whatever sound comes with that, and then we start jamming, and then at some point it gets passed on to the other person. And for us, we're going to put that in. You're going to put that into the loop, or the person who started will put it into the loop, and then you return and you take back the thing as it is, so it can transform. It's no strictness of it has to be maintained, even though there is an interest, obviously, around like what is the center, maybe, or the thing that holds. It seems really beautiful, and we just go for as long as we feel
we go for as long as we feel.
Do you ever do this alone, but with the loop machine?
I have tried it alone, just as a tester, never like engaged. I've tested it in 2003. I'm thinking about it, how you can compose what you're making.
Yeah.
But I haven't got to that place yet. It becomes quite cacophonic often,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking like what types of sounds could one engage with, you know, or do we make a song? Do we make a minimalist soundscape? Do we make but I haven't yet.
Or is it just a dance and that's the music?
Exactly. Or is it just a movement? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And so it's called the voice circle, and so normally it would be in a circle. So we can imagine that kind of composition, in fact.
Yes. Yeah. Normally it's transmitted around the circle. Yeah. Or the person engaged in the doing could also move in and sort of solo inside and then come out. So
sort of cipher-esque.
Yes, exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
Then let's do it.
Cool.
See you in a bit. Okay. That was amazing.
It was so fun.
We were just joking that it's a show, or I was joking. It's a show. But I think now, I mean, we can do whatever we want, but we can just recall what happened, what we remember, and see what comes up.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I was really struck by one was the sort of sonicness, or how I let go of the body and the listening of both the loop that we created together and your sounds and my own sounds in relation to this space, and how that I was thinking, how that shifted throughout and really subtly, and I was very kind of mesmerized and busy with that for some time in it.
So it's as though that it disappears?
Yes. Sometimes the loop disappears while we record it, sometimes you disappear, sometimes I disappear, sometimes you appear. So it's the disappearing and appearing of the sonic world, which is super interesting, and the choreography of that, I guess. It was the first time I've encountered that feeling doing this exercise.
Yeah, no, it's super strong. Like I was thinking about at some point, I wasn't sure if I'm following you or if I'm following the loop or if I'm leading or following, in a sort of already philosophical way. I don't like to think about it, but it's like the closest, I'll talk about it because I don't feel like I know enough, but I think it's the closest thing to point towards the experience, but it gives me a strange sense of free will, where I'm unsure if I'm choosing what I'm doing. Because it's interesting to think of it it's not quite improvisation in the traditional sense, because I'm not sort of making choices. I have a real concrete thing that I'm to copy and follow. But at the same time, it's emergent and it generative. It takes me places which I'm unexpected, and so I kind of see that disappearing in there. Like you say, I lose myself. The will part of me so it starts to disappear and it becomes communal. I think it really taps into a quality that exists in all dance, or all dance I've done, where you're with the room and the body and the circumstances just as much as you're doing something.
Interesting, super interesting. Yeah, I've never thought about it like that, but I think for me also it's this pleasure of letting go of deciding, or letting go of controlling, letting go of which I think I often interrupt. Like that's I like that, but in this I'm really I'm not even trying not to. I'm just not busy with that idea of I guess pre-deciding change, or pre-deciding interruption, or pre-deciding anything, just allowing things to come. There's something so liberating of just letting go of, having a plan.
Yes.
Or a calendar, or having stuff, a list.
No, exactly. It's very sociological. Like,
yes.
I don't have to be this social political being in the world, navigating all these choices and stuff. But in that thing of not making decisions and choices, for me it felt like so much comes up. So it feels like there's not much need actually to generate or to intervene, like you say, and interrupt, because already it's a lot.
Yes,
right?
It's a lot. It's true.
Which in a way sort of ties into the difficulty you said at the beginning of how do you compose this, or should it be composed?
Yes, exactly that. And I'm a little bit busy with that while doing also, what would an audience make, out of this? And where does one, where does one go with it? Do you compose it? Do you not? And what type of composing does one do then? Yeah. In order to not lose this sense of letting go, and how can an audience perhaps be part of the letting go? I don't know. I've had last couple of weeks I tried to compose a little bit, and of course that just brings up tons of questions and inquiries and and you start to sort of link things, and I mean it's a very and then you're into this. Is it just for the doer? Is it the doing of that's actually the interest here, rather than observing, or how do you encounter it? Is it something that goes on for a day or two, and then you pop in and out? And then what is the score, or what could the ingredients be then in order to find? Because it was interesting today with you, because it was more, I've done it when everyone is really busy with their own thing. But we were we kind of followed. There was a sense of being together, like a union, which was great. And then there's sort of also the loop machine and the amp in the middle being some sort of centering kind of totem or something like that. We were kind of circling or having as a kind of magnet or anchor. And different things come up each time. Obviously I do it with people, so it's really, I think that's nice. And I thought to myself at some point, I should have told you can go off on your own. But actually it was really quite interesting, the fact that we were and then slowly, of course, by doing, you kind of also went okay, I'm going to go on my own and see.
Yes. No, I mean, and actually, it mirrors a little bit what you're describing of how would this translate to a sharing sort of situation? Are you sharing the experience, and how does it get communicated or felt by the audience? And I had the similar thing of the way the podcast is structured, like I'm learning your composition, and there's a sense of like however I interpret it usually is the version that we end up talking about.
Yes.
And so it really is the sort of a sense of what is it today here.
Sure.
If I was your dancer, we'd have this type of conversation, perhaps, and then you would say, but then try going off on your own.
Yeah. Let's do it again. Or do you remember last week? Yeah.
Yeah. And but yet at the same time, there's something like it is its own thing. Like we've sort of captured it, and we're allowing ourselves to say, well, that was what it was meant to be, and that is what it is, and we're not going to repeat it or. And it sort of leads me actually to think about how, because this figure of like the social political came up, but that also seems to be that place of thinking about like how do I compose it, how do I communicate it, how does it then enter into the world, exactly like which sounds represent the experience the best.
Yes.
And there's it's like almost impossible to sort of to name or to condense, because it is the speculative, the dream, like the unknown, the possible that is what it is, which really is really interesting when you think of it as like in the realm of politics, because so much of politics is about like we need to do this and this and this, but what happens then of the dance or the going anywhere and the allowing whatever it is to be included, and yet it is choreographed, like it's a clear score. So we're sort of like something is named. However, I know exactly what you mean when you say that fight between like okay, how do I compose this, how do I share this?
And Martin came in last week to observe a little bit, and just in terms of sitting through this, you know, of course you will zoom in and out probably as an audience, like you do in there also a little bit, like I'm a bit bored, or like all of these feelings and thoughts. But there's also, which I felt today with you, was this idea of almost hypnosis. I was getting into a sort of almost like a trance where things kept, the repetition of the loop and the movement was there, but I sort of lost the sound of it, or lost the rhythm of it, or the patterning of it, which I thought was super interesting in the doing. And I was also have been thinking a bit about sort of emotive states, like could you bring this to some sort of extremely recognizable emotions or characters or attitudes or states? How far do you go that route and back? And sort of been playing a little bit with that. Also thinking in how we can meet each other in it, sort of what are the potentials of negotiation and transmitting.
There's so many elements,
I know.
right? Like I had to think of flocking or as like a method, maybe just or even just the fact that it's like I can't see you now, so how am I actually being with that or continuing with that, right? And I was like, are we doing that traditional thing of when I'm facing away and you now following me, and if I turn around, am I following you? And it's all more or less. And you also introduced this word insistence, which just before we started, you said you're very interested in insisting. And I had to think, in what way, right? Like there's so many elements to that.
For sure.
But I think one thing that I could say that I was insisting on, or maybe you can answer, like to insist on those emotional, emotive states, because it makes me. There's something very primal, like the rhythm, the bodily connection, some of the sounds, because they weren't all like harmonious. Oh, they were really guttural. Right, they really had a physicality. Even some of them, you had to move to do them. Like, and it was interesting as well. Like then, now I'm bringing up two different things, but then trying to bring that to the microphone as well, because then of course it shifts. You're like, ooh. But there's something, very primal, for want of a better word.
Yes, it's true. Now it's really interesting when you find yourself in that place. Or where you go, oh yeah, I can feel this as something that I've been through, or that I felt, or that I sounded like, and I recognize it, and then how you kind of get there, and also then how you kind of move out of that.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, the bringing to the microphone is somehow letting go of the bodily part of it and just sounding it is a very. It's a very other place to be in, and other feeling to be in. So it's almost like you become all of a sudden in a sort of recording studio space where you're just preoccupied by laying down that sound in relation to what other sounds there are, and then back in to the kind of doing of the bodily thing. Yeah. It's a lot of bits, a lot of states.
Yes, exactly.
And we've done this with three amplifiers, 3 loop machines. It's quite mental. Like you have to usually do a little bit of a longer loop, just not to crowd it, but also the sound coming from different, I guess, places in the room is an interesting choreography to go through. But
I mean, it makes you think of knowledge, right? Like the beginning of the exercise is this blank slate type, or at least we have contractually agreed that it's a little bit blank, and then we keep adding until a moment where you can't distinguish between what has been added, what is being added, what is being sounded, like there's such a loud noise. So I somehow imagine like it has a like a similarity to how we're amongst so much information, so many voices and instructions and knowledges and truths perhaps in our world. How do you distill or make distinct those like it makes something of it, right? Somehow.
That's a lovely way of looking at it.
Very
kind of different truths. Or untruths.
Exactly.
I was mentioning this idea of doubt just
that's
before
true.
we started. This idea of are you sure? I've been playing with this sentence and kind of deconstructing words and sort of chopping up with the loop machine, and finding kind of being a bit busy with also finding this idea of what is truth, and what am I doing, what am I sure of, or where am I going, and finding the doubt, some doubt in performativity, because it's performing often is such a we're showing somehow certainty that we know what we're doing here. but finding a way of embodying doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the not knowing, or the, yeah, I'm curious about this place. And I remember this work with Jonathan Burrows and Jan, is it Jan Ritzema? They did maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Week dance, strong questions.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I know of it,
Yeah.
but I don't think I don't know who it was with.
Yeah, they felt,
I will look it up and put it in the show notes.
I have a feeling they were sort of doing this exercise for 2 hours of just inquiring what the sort of body performative things do. So
almost moving as if each movement was a question, rather than a statement, right?
Yes.
I mean, absolutely. I've often thought there's something in exactly the performative gesture or the apparatus of the stage which produces a sense of argument. Like, whatever I put in front of you, this is a statement. This should exist at least, right? Like, I've chosen these steps, these bodies, or I've chosen to be here in this way because I believe in it, or I'm standing up for it. And exactly, how do you meet with actually conditions or knowledges or truths that don't have an argument? It's a little bit the difficulty we have, like, between what's the story, what's the meaning of what you're doing, and it's like, well, can we stage doubt, or can we stage meaninglessness, or abstraction? Of course, is the classic one. Right?
Yes.
Or even can we just give something a chance, regardless of knowing what it is, in its ambiguity. Be with it regardless. I have to think of sort of asymmetrical relationships with, like, with the environment, for example, or plants. We don't know how they feel, if they feel even. And yet we more and more recognize the importance of being ethically in relationship to them, regardless if we will ever know what it needs or what it's saying.
For sure. Yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, this is, I'm really curious about exploring this question, because the older I get, also the more, of course, like it's the cliche, the less you feel you know, and the more complex, like, the more complex, I guess the world is complex, everything is complex, but also you kind of, I feel like, at least for me, youth had such a sort of assured kind of, this, of course this needs to be shown, like I will now, exactly like you say. And then you're like, but does this really need to be shown? Or do you really, and part of me also, as an older woman in dance, is this kind of idea of, that needs to actually be there. And the often sort of invisibility of older women my age, or so I think there's something in that where I'm thinking, that should be somehow in the world, or in the performative arena, or whatever. So all of those things are super interesting to think about, and also often, I guess, working with the a younger generation or people in their 30s or 40s. And it's super interesting. I really like that what we've been through in different times of training, what was the focus of the training, what was the discourse, what are our reference frames, and bringing all that in is really lovely. And I'm learning so much, like from working with. This is great. I am really appreciative of that. So whenever I do this exercise also with different people, I get so many ideas and thoughts that I jot down, which is amazing. But yeah, interesting.
I mean,
perform or not to perform.
Yeah. But also, I can imagine, and I'm already feeling it with certain things in my life, being older than other people, a sense of jadedness or a sort of guardedness, or like the privilege or that space of not knowing what it will feel like to do something is really valuable. I'm curious how this. It's funny, or it's interesting. You speak about the performativity. Again, it's a very political thing as well, right? Like, can we have space for older female bodies? But how does it feel with what you described as, well, I think I gave a word to it of like disappearing, or these losing the sound, losing the body, losing the partner, losing the loop. Like, how does that feel, especially in relationship to actually this recognition that it should be allowed that mature women should be on stage as well, or in the dance world as well. Like, is it a similar disappearance, or are the things that get brought up that disappear, are they somehow of a world which doesn't have a place on stage?
Right, interesting, yeah. There's, I guess, like you say, there is also a sense of freedom to being older, and to being also having the privilege to still do this. And having the also somehow feeling that I'm not. There's a sense from me personally, also a sense of kind of pleasure in the invisibility, or sense of freedom in that. And I think for me, being young, a lot of performing was about being seen and being good and being looking good and all of that stuff. And now, of course, well, not of course, but for me anyway, that's somehow much more diluted and not less interesting. So it's finding, like, so what's interesting now? Where is the interest now? And also trying to be honest with yourself and really staying with that. What is the pleasure in moving or exposing or not exposing? So I'm saying all the women, I think it's really, I love watching difference on stage anyway. I'm very interested in that, but I'm not sure that's necessarily perhaps me.
No, sorry.
But yes, I know what you mean though. I think the pressures of going on stage also, like the expectations on myself along all those things are just like, do I really want that, or should I be should I be doing this, because all the things we discussed. So yes, and I think it's really beautiful how you put the disappearing of things and people and you know, kids growing, like my son growing up, disappearing out. You know, he's moving back from home. He's now an adult.
Yeah.
Things kind of, you know, of course, parents getting older, parents passing, people.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting time of disappearing and disappearances.
Yeah.
Which is actually, I've never thought about that, but
it's a real conceptual space as well, like to experience and to be in.
Yeah.
And I had my first big injury of my career this year.
Okay.
I got sort of like fatigue in the trochanter, so trochanter bursitis, I think it's called.
Okay, yeah.
And so you know, when it like gets bad, I can barely walk, and I was dancing in a research project this summer, and I really had this moment where like it happened, and I was in so much pain I could barely walk, like I say, and there's this realization of like and sadness and like loss of like what can I do now, what's available to me, and it's so complex, and we know of its existence as young people, like and yet to experience the disappearance, the fading away of like a certain access or visibility is really interesting. I was thinking it's really interesting we're here, so we're at Sadler's Wells East. I don't think we've said that. In one of the beautiful studios looking out on the Olympic Park in London. And I have to think of how amazing that in a world which feels like it doesn't care about this kind of practice, for example, it is existing, and there are these buildings and there are these institutions and stages, and yet at the same time I feel as though trying to squeeze, or what we're talking about a little bit is like trying to squeeze some of this diversity, some of this nuance and texture and ambiguity onto one stage, because there is a monopoly around where dance can get shown and how and what that means, and as much as like there's a desire for plurality of different dances and people in those dances, I feel like also I'd like to see more stages so that there are different and I mean very conceptual as well, like different ways in which the dance can be met and entered. And that's not to say that we should keep Sadler's Wells white, for example. But to sort of like, to imagine, it's really difficult though, because that's the economy, and it is sort of towards productivity and
slick work, slick ready, and accessible. It's an interesting one. I think, this idea of dance being encountered in various different types of spaces and different types of contexts, and that being of value. Because I guess that's a little bit why we set up our festival, festenfest, Heidi and I, to find somehow a space where we can meet each other, we can share work, we can watch work, we can talk about work, we can sort of hang out and have a drink or something to eat. And it can be presented in the way that the artist would be interested in presenting their practice or their work, rather than kind of So kind of actively looking for different spaces that could host work, which, you know, it felt a real need for that in London. And I think there still is a need for that, because a lot of the smaller or the more experimental stages or spaces have closed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that this is here is extraordinary, you're right.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
That we are here and the Royal Choreographic School is here. I think Martin has done a brilliant job initiating it, and Alistair obviously, you know, agreed to this, and this is really beautiful. I'm hoping that it will ripple.
Yes, exactly. There's a
ripple in the
that
field.
sort of ripple effect.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, one thing that I had to think about with age and with stories and histories is actually in the exercise, in the practice. I felt histories were actually really present.
Nice.
Like I don't think I'm describing it so well, but like the sense of the loop it's like an echo chamber of what's already there. And of course our techniques or our dances or where we've been, what we think is allowed and possible in the space, the social contracts, the spatial contracts, the histories of what we do in a studio, how we talk, how we think, how we move. And then also, the histories of the building, and even just traveling here. And we even started with histories. I historicized your origin and my own origin. And they sort of like, they come up and they become insisted upon maybe, but they also show their complexity and their like breadth, like that. Very generative. There wasn't a moment where I was like, okay, now I'm doing that ballet class from when I was 5, you know?
Yes, this is interesting. Yeah, there's moments where it's a real pleasure, not like, there's moments where I recognize, like I know, like, okay, I do this a lot, like, and I do this a lot because my neck is really stiff, so I will now just keep going with that for a bit. But yes, and then there are moments where I'm absolutely also not aware of what is going on. So that, it's a really, that's a lovely way of putting it, that histories are present in, and also the kind of past of the vocal work is kind of being looped.
I guess I noticed it very strong because I know if I do some movements now, and I'm having to teach myself that it's not in my body, that I know if I do that I'm gonna like get a lot of pain. So I'm really having to like sort of
interesting.
And because I think the experience I've had with my body is that it has it will show me where the limit is. My arm will only go so far, type thing. However, now it's like, oh, my leg. If I send my leg there, I could be in a lot of pain for doing it. So, but like you say, like just like, oh, I like to do this because my neck, right? Like this story, this history, this saga with our conditions is a really beautiful one. And that's why this is dance. I mean, we're very literally using sound and voice. Like one could sort of, or when I started working with it earlier this year, I started to ask myself, like, am I still dancing? Because the focus was so much on the voicing, and yet this really demonstrates how, at least in one way, dance is about being with those historical stories and conditions that the body sort of carries with us. But this has been beautiful. I feel so inspired and so lucky. I don't know if I feel inspired because it sort of assumes that we should do something more or go somewhere else. And actually I'd rather think that I feel so grateful, actually, that I can that this happened, this
Maybe.
dance, because
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
weird and unique,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah,
um,
it was great. What an amazing way of starting a day, just moving with you. It was super. And it's also nice that I've never met you.
yeah, exactly.
And then we go
yeah,
off and do this
exactly,
together.
exactly. Yeah.
It's great.
I mean, in a way, those stories actually of like what I presume, what I think expectation-wise, like how to like honor what you've invited as much as I can, like all those dancery learning things, right?
Yes.
Like they were definitely there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't know each other, but now I feel like
Yeah.
we know each other within this 30 minutes of dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
it's really special.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If people want to get in contact with you or
Yeah,
check you out,
I guess the website,
Yeah.
h2dance.com,
yeah,
would be a good place. And I think, my email is there.
yes, yeah, that's good.
Or the festival, also festenfest website.
Yeah,
They can read
nice.
about the festival and the program.
And also attend.
And attend
Yeah.
March
Yeah.
this next year, 2026.
Yeah.
That's probably
And you're
the best
also
place.
on Instagram.
Instagram, H2 Hanna.
H2 Hanna. Yeah.
I'm on Facebook, but Instagram more actively.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah, it's the place.
one of the places.
You
Yeah.
sort of have to be.
No, but it's such a pleasure to meet you and your work. And also, if people are interested, you're teaching at Roehampton as well. So
For sure.
there's so many opportunities to interact with
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
your experience, and the dances you're doing and things. And exactly, also the learning you're continuing to do. It's so beautiful how you put it like that. It gives me great hope and inspiration. I feel very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.